Hey folks. So welcome to another episode. Mostly my musings on different topics to really help you feel seen and heard. This is the space where hopefully my musings, my reflections will help you see yourself so clearly and help you see the patterns that you get stuck in too, right? Because this journey is about being vulnerable, it's about being human and just being truthful about what's really going on because no one has their shit together. And if it looks like they have, don't buy it. Don't buy it. So, what was what felt really true for me to talk about is avoidance. And I want to go into this topic of I talk about rest and I'm an advocate for rest as a sensitive soul. You've heard me banging on about this, is it is so important to have that rest and relaxation to, calm the nervous system down and have that time to decompress from whatever is going on in your life, from clients, from your part-time job, whatever is going on. That is really important. But can become a problem when we are using rest as an avoidance strategy. Have you done this? Just get honest with yourself. That's what I'm here to do. Because the more we can tell the truth with ourselves and go, okay, I see I'm doing that thing again. I'm going into avoidance to avoid creating the thing I'd love because I know in creating the thing I would love, it's gonna bring up uncomfortable feelings for me. So we're gonna dive into this. Um, and these things are always inspired by my own experiences. So last week, when it's my moon time, when it's my period, I do create more space to be, to tune in, and I have less input and I consume less. I do rest more. I maybe read a little bit, like a novel or something. I've been reading Eat, Pray, Love, which I'm loving. It's such a light-hearted book. Recommend it if you haven't read it. And if I reflect back on last week, I had a really spacious week, and it was the week where I wasn't doing my sales job. So I worked 2 days for a chiropractor. I call myself a brand ambassador because the word sales feels a bit scary in my head. Um, so I'm talking to people about chiropractic. I do these posture checks in gyms. So I didn't have that on last week. So that meant I had the whole week, Monday to Friday, to just create, work on my business, fill out my cup basically, which is brilliant. And I had work on Saturdays where I support women with cerebral palsy. So I had a lot more space. And I reflect on that week and I tune in and I have like a sort of intuitive to-do list as such of things that I want to focus on for the week. And I didn't do all the things. And when I look back, I think, where was my time and energy going? I reflect on, I did generally need rest. That is true. But also, I noticed where I went into, okay, I'm going to rest when actually something was moving, something was alive. And there was this idea coming to mind after doing a lot of mini readings, mini little astrology readings, which I love doing for people. It became clear to me it's like what's obvious to create for people is a workshop to help them understand their sensitivity, like the traits of their sensitivity, and help them design a life around that with some practical tools and techniques to just help them live a life around who they truly are. So this workshop idea was bubbling up in me, but I avoided it. And I avoided it for a day or two. Then it was there, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this idea out of my head. So I did some journaling in the garden. I got it out, not fully formed. That's what I'm working on this week. And I look back and I think, why did I go into avoidance? And you may see yourself doing this. And I was almost using rest as a way to avoid creating that. And why do we do this? Why do we avoid creating the thing that is so alive and so is actually going to fill us with so much joy and bring us more momentum in the business, in the soul business that you're creating, right? Um, and I realize it's because it's going to bring up that whole story again of like, will people want this? Am I actually giving much value from creating this workshop? Like, this is something unknown to me. It's something new I haven't done. Will anyone buy a ticket? All of that stuff I was actually avoiding. I was avoiding this same story that plays out for me, and you may have a similar story or you may know what yours is, of this thing of, well, if I create this series of workshops, then I might not be seen. I might not be heard in that. And that is the most painful thing because that is my wound. That is my wounding around feeling invisible, feeling not seen and heard. I've had to work a lot on this, and generally I'm in a much better place with it, but it will still rear its head as a wound. I put something out there and my old wound will go, oh, no one's connecting with it, no one's commenting on it, no one's showing it love. That means I'm not seen and heard. I translate it as that. So I see where I've gone into avoidance with this idea that feels so alive and so juicy for me, so that I can avoid feeling that uncomfortable emotion of almost being rejected and not seen and heard in what I'm creating. And that can be painful. The wound can be painful, but it's also where the wound has hold of us, where it pulls us out of creating from our joy, creating from our open heart. Because when you create from joy and your aliveness, like there are no guarantees. You're being vulnerable. You're being courageous by putting that thing out there. And because you love it, you hope that somebody else will love it and see the value in it, but there's no guarantee of that. That is very much this path. It is uncertain, it is unknown, and it is not for the faint of hearts. So I see this avoidance pattern. I also see how I was avoiding a task that is really, I don't know about you, you'll probably relate to this of like wanting to do the fun stuff in your business. Like, I love creating images in Canva. Like, I could do that all day, or making these YouTube videos for you. I love that this kind of thing. When it comes to on my list last week, make a client contract. Did I do it? No. It's on my list this week. And again, the reason I didn't do it is it's because it's like a part of me is like, well, this means it's serious. If you've got a contract, that means you're actually taking your work seriously. And a part of me is actually terrified of that because number one, what if people are like disappointed by my work, the sessions they're receiving? This is for somebody that signed up for a 6-month container, which is epic, and I'm so excited. Because I love going that deep with people. I've done it before and I've been really craving to have people that I can go that deep with to really support them and help them bring those visions to life and understand their sensitivity, like, and who they truly are, so that that can come through what they're offering. So yeah, this client contract, I was avoiding it because that means I'm serious. It takes my business from being a hobby, which I'm going to be truthful, I've definitely got stuck in moments in my life of like, oh, it's just a hobby. So no wonder it's not going to support me if I treat it like a hobby and don't show up and do the so-called menial tasks that my brain thinks are boring, but actually that's going to help me build the momentum and the stability. So avoidance is a tricky one because you might not go into resting. You might have a different strategy if you notice you're avoiding the discomfort in some way. I also notice I can avoid things and get busy with social things, like just go out and see so and so that I avoid the thing that I actually really would love to do. And I have to be really discerning. This takes discernment of going, okay, I'm doing that pattern again. And it's not, it's so important to have compassion for yourself. If you're going into that avoidance pattern, it's like, okay, being with that part of you that is avoiding. And I do these practices to really come back to that part of me. Maybe it's an inner child part of me that is like, oh, this feels serious and heavy. Let's just sit with this and be with her and feel that discomfort. Because if you just plow through, chances are it's going to feel really heavy to get that thing done. So we have to really listen to these parts of ourselves. And that's why I love astrology, because it opens us up to understand these different parts within us, these different parts of our psyche that are often running the show, so to speak. That unconscious pattern of me going into avoidance is because I'd rather live with my head in the clouds and I'd rather, you know, avoid the discomfort of feeling not seen and heard if my workshop doesn't get received well, right? So when you can call it out and go, okay, I see that, and be compassionate with yourself, that's really what this work is about. It's not just ignoring it, bulldozing over it or bypassing it. So, okay, here, a part of me is feeling vulnerable, and that's okay. And I'm going to be with this part of myself, sit with her, and just listen to her and acknowledge her. That's a big part of this work. I used to be all like, oh, it's all love and light, and just change that thinking into something positive. But it's always going to be there if you don't address it and acknowledge it. So, recently as well, if I'm really honest, of like, doing this part-time sales job, which a lot of people said to me, "Oh my God, how are you doing that?" I remember a friend was saying like, "I thought you'd be absolutely shit at that, right?" Because I am an introvert. But the reason I can do it is because I believe in it. I believe in chiropractic. I now have chiropractic treatment with the company I work for, which is amazing. I've been having it since January, and my neck feels amazing. I had a lot of stiffness in my neck. I had a lot of tension headaches. Gone completely. Like a weight has been lifted off my neck. So I can talk about it because I feel the benefits of it. And I had to admit to myself, the truth is that it's not a sustainable job for me. It's a lot of output. I'm like having to talk to people, do these posture checks, and there can be big chunks in the day where I'm not speaking to anyone, which is good because I get to just be there. Um, and I get paid, that's fine. It's not a commission role. But also, I've got to be honest about my nervous system. And recently, my nervous system has been in a very frazzled state from doing that work. Um, and I've been avoiding admitting that truth to myself because it means if I admit that truth, it means, okay, you got to look for another part-time job. And the story I'm attaching to that is, okay, another part-time job. You've already had about 26 jobs in your life, Hannah. I'm already judging myself for that because my environment is so important. But I also brought up this whole pattern that why do I keep going into these roles that there's an element of pressure in it? Like, although I get paid for the hours, I'm still meant to hit three sales every shift. If I don't, there's no consequences, but there's still that pressure in my head of like, okay, I'm meant to do three sales here. And as you know, gym environments for highly sensitive souls are not the best. Generally, I've been working in leisure centers, but the last couple I did gyms and it was like so intense, and I'm not a person that just gives up, like The old me, I'd say yes, is quite flaky and is like, as soon as something's uncomfortable, I will leave. So I've given it, I have given it time since January to see if it is right for me. And again, not to just avoid that discomfort straight away, right? It can be so easy to have that reactive response, which I've done before, is like, oh my God, this is so uncomfortable. I have to escape straight away. I've done that in my life so many times. And, there's a difference of sticking something out and building that resilience and also going, okay, this is not right for me. I need to get something else. So I was just pretending that everything was fine when actually my nervous system, my body is every time I go into those environments, it's so tired. And I'm not willing to, sacrifice myself and have a frazzled nervous system for something that pays peanuts, right? It's ultimately coming back to that truth. And so it's admitting the truth to ourselves. So many times we'll avoid it because again, we don't want to come back to that story. It's gonna bring up again. Like for me, that, oh God, you failed again, another job that's not right for you, Hannah. Like, what's going on? Whereas it's actually illuminated a big pattern for me is like, okay, I've done a lot of part-time jobs where it's like a fast-paced environment, like doing hospitality, where things are go, 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 and there's a lot of people and blah, blah, blah. Those environments just don't suit me. And it's like, okay, so now I understand that I can actually find something that is going to support my nervous system and support me, a relaxing environment. I don't have to go into that old pattern. And the reason that old pattern plays out for you is because you're not conscious of it. So, whatever we're avoiding, whatever emotion we're avoiding, whatever truth we're avoiding, it's going to come out eventually. So the sooner you can just be honest with yourself and admit, okay, this isn't working for me. I'm just going to admit that truth. And I don't have to know how, for example, I'm going to find the right part-time job that is going to be right for me, but I'm going to trust that is what I want and, a job that has a relaxing environment, etc., is out there and I can have that. Um, so being honest about those avoidant patterns you might go into if you're anything like me, I bet that. And what is that cover up that you're going into? Maybe it's the same as me, you're going to that rest. Oh, I need more rest. And actually, okay, you do need rest, but the rest is also partly you avoiding the thing you would love to create. Because the thing you'd love to create is gonna be vulnerable, right? And this takes so much trust. The more and more I'm seeing this is like, okay, the trust to just keep following the breadcrumbs of what's obvious. And if I hadn't have trusted myself this year, I wouldn't have just signed up a client for 6 months. I'm telling you, I lost all faith. I lost all confidence in myself because I haven't had a consistent client in a 6 month container for a long time. And it was like, okay, that's actually what I'd love to have again. And I'd love to have more. But it's taken me following the breadcrumbs of, creating different things, like, running these like monthly cacao circles, which taught me my heart wasn't in that as well. It's like trial and error. You have to do one thing to receive clarity about the next thing you would love. And I think avoidance is a pattern I see a lot in people that I've worked with. Or like this can be in procrastination, avoidance, very similar. Cleaning, right? Instead of creating the thing you would love. And I can see it myself with my art, I do this as well as that, okay, I'll just go and read a book instead of make art, or go out for coffee with somebody instead of make art, when actually I know that my art is the thing that's going to sustain me, is going to make me feel so good. And of course, seeing that person is, but get honest, what is it you're avoiding? And it can just be so habitual, we don't even notice that, like that avoidance tendency or that procrastination tendency. And also, another element of this, another layer around this avoidance is what I see in a lot of people is they're terrified of getting things wrong, particularly with women. Like, we're terrified of not being perfect. Perfect doesn't exist. But if you have that perfectionist tendency, that can be another strategy where you go into avoidance because you're afraid if you put that offer out there, if you put that workshop out there, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be imperfect and somebody could pick it apart. They might not like the price you've put on there. They might not, you might not have articulated in a way that somebody understands. And that's okay. But really, these strategies, these unconscious patterns get us so stuck into, doing things that aren't actually serving us. It might be you scroll on social media instead. It might be you go drink more coffee or eat something. Whatever the thing is, we're not perfect. We are humans, but it's recognizing what patterns you loop back into and going, oh my gosh, I'm doing that thing again. And if you can notice in the moment when you're doing it, even more power, because you're taking back your power and going, okay, I'm doing this thing again. Okay, I'm going to get curious. Why am I in this pattern again? What is it I'm avoiding? What am I avoiding feeling? And when you get super curious from a space of like, an open heart, you're not judging, you're not condoning yourself, you're just going, okay, I'm here. What is this pattern trying to tell me? What is it avoiding? That is where things shift. Because when we avoid things, when we bypass things and do the whole toxic positivity bullshit, that's like, okay, I'm feeling something negative. Oh my God, gotta get rid of it, gotta tap it out, gotta go and meditate. We're avoiding the thing again. And it's just gonna come up stronger and persist even more because we're avoiding it. So quit avoiding. Avoiding is not going to help you. And I know it is like a habitual pattern. I'm giving you tough love here, but you need to see it. You need to feel it and acknowledge it. This is so much of the work I teach with clients is like the astrology illuminates these patterns for people and these parts of themselves, um, that they lead with. And the somatic work, the meditation part is tuning into your body and being with that and having a dialogue with these parts of yourself to go, okay, I see you, I witness you. What would you love me to know right now? What is it you need from me right now? And sometimes those parts just want to be acknowledged. That's all they need. Sometimes they just need a hug. And sometimes they just might need you to break down that mammoth vision that you've got and just take one tiny step and then the next. So, avoidance is part of this journey. Probably you've all done it. Um, and it's not to judge yourself for it, it's just to be compassionate with yourself and see it as, okay, great, this is clarity for me. Like I'm illuminating that pattern I go in. And this is great feedback because I see that and I can be more aware of that. Just how Jung says, until you make the subconscious conscious, it will continue to run your life. Something like that. Um, it's unconscious. So we need to make these patterns conscious so we can understand them. And that is a lot of the work I do. That's why I love talking about this stuff. Um, so yeah, that and also that perfectionist tendency can come from never feeling good enough. So you might be avoiding, say, creating a landing page with this beautiful offer that you have in your head, that you're avoiding creating that landing page because you feel like it's not going to be good enough. that somebody's going to criticize it or something, and you're going to be found out as a fraud. You're going to be seen that actually you're not good enough and what you offer is not good enough. And it's going to illuminate that painful wound for you again. So, so much of what we avoid is coming from our wounds. We all have these wounds and they can be healed, but it's understanding those patterns and those stories you find yourself going back into. Um, yeah, and I feel like that is what I want to finish with. I could probably share more examples of that. Um, but that is what is surfacing for me right now, this avoidance. And yeah, doing the difficult things. So it's really learning how to be discerning, how to be discerning with yourself and recognize, okay, if rest is one of the things for you, okay, do I really need rest? Like, is that what I really need right now? Or is part of that rest an avoidance strategy? Because it might be that you generally just want an hour or two to sit, decompress, read a book. And if it extends, then it's like, okay, is this what I really need right now? Or is it part of me avoiding something else, avoiding something uncomfortable? So I will leave you with those questions and things to delve deeper into. And as always, I love hearing from you. So feel free to share your thoughts, share your reflections under the episode, or obviously you can reach out to me privately. But I really love hearing from you. It does make my day and helps me understand like what you're going through, what your, inner world looks like and how it manifests. So do let me know. Sending lots of love your way. Bye for now, guys.